Dr. Tam here with Rocky. And today, Rocky, what is the topic today that people are asking?
Yeah, this is actually one of the hot topics today, especially with the
Oh,
lifestyle that we have. Yeah. So today we're going to be discussing insulin and insulin resistance. S-
wow. Tell me a little bit more.
Yeah.
What are people asking about insulin or insulin resistance?
All right. Well, first up, again, we're going to start with the what, right? What is insulin? What is insulin resistance? And why does it matter?
Okay, sure. Insulin is something, it's a hormone that your body pumps out to carry sugar back into your body, like from the bloodstream to your liver. Okay, and that's where insulin is taking sugar back. But insulin is made in the pancreas.
Hmm.
So anytime when we eat, and especially when we have meals that have higher sugar content or higher protein, the pancreas automatically pumps out insulin so that it can take sugar from your bloodstream into the rest of your body. It can store it in the muscles, the liver, right? Because your body is only supposed to have, or your bloodstream is only supposed to have a certain number of sugar levels, right? It's usually measured in deciliters per milliliter or deciliters per milligram. And what happens is if you have that homeostasis in your bloodstream, then that's great. But what happens is insulin resistance gets developed when people are taking in sugar or carbohydrates all the time. And what happens is you can no longer get the insulin you can no longer get the sugars into the cells anymore
Hmm.
because the cells themselves are full of sugar. So now what happens is your pancreas ends up having to make a lot more insulin to try to pump it into the cells. And eventually the cells say, you know what, I'm done with it. I no longer need any sugar,
Hmm.
right? So they become resistant. I mean, think about it like this. Imagine if you're living in an area that is very quiet,
Hmm.
right? Quiet, suburban area. And usually, noise like a fire engine comes by will wake you up.
Yep, definitely.
So now let's say you move to the city. You move to San Francisco, the busiest intersection in San Francisco. All day, you're hearing fire engines, big trucks go by, police cars, maybe some trains go by.
Hmm.
And now you get so used to that noise no longer bothers you. You don't pay attention to it. That's what's happening with insulin resistance. There's so much sugar, so much insulin, your cells are no longer paying attention.
So it's like tolerating it, right?
It's tolerating it,
Mm-hmm.
but it becomes very dangerous
Mm-hmm.
because now with insulin not working and not putting any sugars into your cells, the amount of sugar in your cells starts to climb,
Mm-hmm.
right? And after a certain number, you end up with diabetes,
Okay.
you see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually my next question. Is it the same as diabetes?
Well, diabetes is usually too much sugar in the blood,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or people measure by A1C levels. Anything over 5.7, you're considered pre-diabetic. Anything over 6.4, you're considered absolutely diabetic.
Diabetic.
And what happens is, too much sugar in the blood, not only does it cause something called peripheral neuropathy, where people can start getting tingling numbness in your hands and feet,
Mm-hmm.
but it causes autonomic neuropathy as well, where your colon, your kidneys, your gut, your liver, your heart and lungs start shutting down.
Mm-hmm. I see. All right. And of course, we do know now that this could be triggered by, too much sugar in the body, just like what you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Now, in that case, what are the signs that,
Of insulin resistance,
insulin resistance? Yes.
some signs could be fatigue, constant thirst, which is almost the same signs as diabetes if you
Diabetes.
think
Yeah.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
right? Weight gain,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a delay sweating could also be it as well. It can cause lower sex drive. It can cause someone to eat and then really quickly be full again or be hungry again,
Mm-hmm.
right? So these are some of the signs.
Mm-hmm.
It can also lead to high blood pressure. Over the long run, of course, you have higher blood sugar levels. A1C is starting to climb as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I heard that, it can also be the root cause for PCOS, which is something that a lot of women are suffering with, and it doesn't have a cure, and they also have a lot of questions regarding insulin resistance and how it's related to PCOS. Now,
Yeah,
mhm, what can we do, of course, aside from diet and you know minimizing your sugar levels. What can we do to improve it now that you have it? What can we do
yeah.
to improve it, and how can we prevent it?
Well, improving it and preventing it is almost the same
Mm-hmm.
because you pretty much do the same thing to improve and prevent it, right? So number one, to make sure that your liver is processing everything correctly, you should be eating about 7 to 10 cups of vegetables per day,
Mm-hmm.
right? You should minimize the amount of carbohydrates that you're consuming. Limit the amount of protein. Maybe have 3 to 6 ounces of protein per meal at most. Drink lots of water. Okay, making sure that you're also taking your multivitamins, zinc as a mineral as well. You're getting enough magnesium, and also you have to pay attention to your salt levels, so
Mm-hmm.
that all those put together is electrolytes as well,
I see.
right? Um, if you are taking, people who are insulin resistant, usually that are not diabetic, you don't necessarily have to start taking medications, making a lot of diet changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing ample amount of exercise, at least 30 minutes to an hour of walking, making sure that your heart rate is ramped up, you know, to about 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. We've done other videos that talk about how do you calculate your maximum heart rate, which
Mm-hmm.
is pretty much 220 minus your age, right? So all those things combined, intermittent fasting as well can be
Yep.
good
Mm-hmm.
as well, to make sure that you reduce your insulin resistance, and staying away from foods that are um, that are high in carbohydrates or can pack on fats. Because if you think about it, if you put protein with fat, protein with sugar, actually, I should say, kind of like fried foods, that's one of the
Yeah.
easiest way to ramp up your insulin levels. And higher insulin means that your body is storing fat,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's one of the problems.
All right. Okay. Well, those are the questions that I have for you today, Dr. Tim. And to our viewers, just in case you have, other questions, you can feel free to comment below or visit our website. Visit our website, visit our Facebook and all our social media accounts, and, reach out to us.
Yeah, and one thing they could reach out to us for
Mm-hmm.
recommendations of supplements, and
Yeah.
also our patients, current patients, can also come by to have vitamin injections
Mm-hmm.
that can help really with their insulin resistance.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for today, Dr. Tim.